Captain Thomas Sankara was a prominent revolutionary figure and politician who served as the president of Burkina Faso from 1983 until his assassination in 1987. His life and work left a significant impact on African politics and development, often celebrated for his visionary leadership and commitment to social justice. He was eliminated at his prime, but his name continues to resonate in his native country of Burkina Faso, Africa, and in several countries of the world. In this edition of Back in History, we present to you an overview of his life and legacies. Welcome to this edition of Back in History. Thomas Sankara was born on December 21st, 1949 in Yako, a village in what was then the French colony of Upper Volta, now Burkina Faso. He was raised in a modest middle-class family, with his father being a staff of the colonial administration. Sankara attended primary school in Yako and later moved to Ouagadougou for secondary education, where he developed love for reading. He was also deeply influenced by Pan-African ideals and political thoughts, particularly by leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba. In 1966, Sankara joined the military, a decision that would shape his future. He quickly distinguished himself through his discipline and leadership potentials. He went on to study military tactics and ideology in Madagascar, where he was influenced by leftist revolutionary movements and ideas. On returning to Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara was deployed to various military formations. He did his work conscientiously and rose through the ranks of the military. By the late 1970s, he had gained a reputation as a progressive military officer. His views on social equity and anti-colonialism set him apart from many of his peers. Sankara was appointed to various positions in the military and in government, where he began advocating for reforms to address the nation's widespread poverty, backwardness, and underdevelopment. In 1981, Sankara was appointed Minister of Information during a period of political turbulence marked by coups and instability in his country. However, Sankara's views often clashed with the conservative elements within the government, leading to his dismissal in 1982. He was placed under house arrest for some time due to his opposition to the government. In August 1983, after a successful coup led by a group of junior military officers and like minds in the military, Sankara emerged as the Prime Minister of the country. Sankara assumed the presidency on August 4, 1983 at the age of 33 and quickly began implementing radical reforms in the country. Sankara's government made a series of bold moves to transform Burkina Faso's economy and society. His administration focused on reducing reliance on foreign aid, promoting self-sufficiency, and fostering a sense of national identity and pride. He changed the country's name from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning, quote, land of upright people. Sankara's policies aimed at addressing the fundamental issues affecting Burkina Faso, a country that faced extreme poverty, malnutrition, and illiteracy. His government implemented several key reforms in the agricultural sector. He prioritized agriculture, promoting land reforms and implementing programs to improve food sufficiency and security. Sankara encouraged farmers to adopt modern techniques, crop diversification, and conservation practices. In the health sector, Sankara's administration launched programs to improve healthcare access and education. His government trained thousands of health workers, established vaccination campaigns, and focused on reducing maternal and child mortality rates. Sankara also brought educational reforms aimed at increasing literacy and enrollment, particularly for girls. He built new schools and expanded the capacity of the existing ones. Another of Sankara's most notable achievements was his commitment to gender equality. He appointed women to significant government positions, encouraged female participation in the workforce, and launched campaigns against practices like forced marriages and female genital mutilations. He also introduced several anti-corruption measures. His government sought to eliminate corruption and promote transparency in public service. He implemented salary cuts for high-ranking officials, reduced state expenditures, and emphasized accountability among public servants. Recognizing the challenges posed by desertification, Sankara initiated programs for reforestation and sustainable land practices to combat environmental degradation. Sankara was a staunch advocate for Pan-Africanism and sought to foster solidarity among African nations. He voiced criticisms against neocolonialism and imperialism, often condemning Western influence in African affairs. His government provided support to anti-colonial and revolutionary movements across the continent, including organizations against apartheid in South Africa. Sankara aimed to reduce Burkina Faso's dependence on foreign aid and promote economic independence. He famously declared that, quote, "He who feeds you controls you," emphasizing the need for self-reliance. This assertive stance made him a controversial figure in international relations, particularly among Western powers, most of whom were not comfortable with Sankara's drive towards zero dependence on superpowers. He was African in body and soul. He believed so much in the power and ability of the African continent to be self-sustaining. He was very popular among his people and among several persons across Africa and across the world. He was an example of a charismatic leader whose principal mission was the transformation of the well-being and welfare of his people. Despite his achievements and popularity among certain segments of the population, Sankara faced numerous challenges during his presidency. His radical reforms threatened traditional power structures, leading to tensions with regional leaders and factions within the military. Economic pressures, particularly drought and rising prices for essential goods, led to discontent among some sectors of the population. While many citizens supported his initiatives, others felt the pace of change was too rapid or lacking in consultation. Sankara was undaunted. He kept pushing for the growth of his country. He was a workaholic. He went to the office early every day, except on such days that he was out of the country on official visits. Sankara dedicated his life remarkably to the development and transformation of his country. On October 15, 1987, the unthinkable occurred. Thomas Sankara was assassinated during a military coup led by his former ally, Blaise Compaoré. Sankara was in a meeting with his ministers in his office when the assassins arrived his office and commanded him to raise his hands up and walk towards the exit door. Just by the exit door, the assassins opened a volley of bullets on him and Sankara died on the spot. A dark cloud engulfed the country and Burkina Faso was never going to be the same again. A man loved by many had just been brought down by the bullet in the most horrific and violent manner. He was a charismatic leader, and the news of his death was received with shock by a large segment of people. Not long after his assassination, events began to unfold. A new government was formed by Captain Blaise Compaoré as the new military head of state of the country. Several persons were taken by surprise. This is because Sankara and Blaise were the best of friends for many years. They wore the same ranks in the army. They grew up together and were mostly seen together even as military officers. When Sankara was kept under house arrest by the administration before him, it was his close friend Blaise Compaoré who mobilized soldiers in the military barracks to fight for the freedom of Sankara. Blaise was also the biggest supporter of the ascension of Sankara to the office of president. He was an insider in Sankara's government. It was thus a surprise to many that the gruesome assassination of Thomas Sankara was masterminded by his bosom friend, brother, colleague, Captain Blaise Compaoré. Blaise and Thomas were so close to each other to the extent that their parents knew them as friends. During holidays from military schools, Blaise would spend part of the holidays in Sankara's home, while Sankara would also spend holidays in Blaise's home. The assassination marked a tragic end to Thomas Sankara's vision for Burkina Faso and left a complex legacy. Sankara remains a symbol of revolutionary struggle and anti-imperialism in Africa. His principles of self-reliance, equality, and justice continue to inspire activists and leaders who seek to address the challenges faced by the continent. Posthumously, he is often celebrated for his radical ideas and commitments to social change, challenging entrenched systems of inequality. His life and work highlight the complexities of revolutionary politics, the struggle for autonomy, the enduring quest for a more equitable society in Africa. Sankara's vision of a united and independent Africa resonates with many, and his contributions to social justice and development are still studied and revered across the continent of Africa and beyond till this day. Though his life was cut short, his legacies endure till this day as a powerful reminder of the possibilities for change in Africa. Thanks for watching this edition of Back in History. I am your friend and host Ekemini, wishing you the best of time in all your endeavors, even as I encourage you to subscribe to this channel for regular notification on every new video.